The Dark Crystal was a film I vaguely remember from childhood. I recalled the Skeksis and the nightmarish scene of them draining the essence from other inferior creatures in an attempt to cheat death, but other than that, I couldn't remember the story. Rewatching it as an adult though, I have a different appreciation for it. In an age where remakes, reboots and rehashes are ripe, often removing anything and everything that made audiences actually connect with the original, they are often used to retell the story by showing how far technology has come, instead of actually asking, does this add to the story? For me, it doesn't matter how photorealistic something is, if I see no emotion, I can't connect. In fact, if something looks too realistic, I begin to wonder, what's the point? Where's the style? Where's the substance? I'm not saying CGI can't convey emotion, but I do think that we are bombarded with CGI all the time. So much so that when a practical effect is actually shown on screen, we are led to believe it was done in CG because that's what's expected now. Style and substance are often not in balance in fantasy movies. In the case of The Dark Crystal, there's perhaps too much substance and not enough structure to hold itself together, and any structure it does have feels rather generic. The chosen one storyline, the rebellious princess, the misunderstood hero, blah blah blah. Pick a story and stick with one. Trying to do 3 different stories felt a little overwhelming and difficult to follow. That being said, having each of the 3 main characters represent a different clan gave the world a history that was fascinating to me. It's a series that you can really sink your teeth into analytically. There's a lot to consume here. The details, the effects, the puppets, the story, the world, there's always something else to digest. But I do wonder if this is actually what works against The Dark Crystal. That it's just too much to digest, making the story itself come off as rather generic, that the rules of the world are left rather vague. The original movie, goofy as it is by today's standards, had an atmosphere that made you believe in the world. You felt the humidity, the pain, the life, because everything you saw on screen was real. And yeah, it could have been very easy for this prequel series to fall into the trap of simply doing everything CGI. The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance remains rooted into what made the original film unique. An entire film using nothing but puppets and hand-built sets. Yeah, CG and green screen are used here and there, but it was in subtle ways to simply fill in the cracks and holes, and to add subtlety to the performance of the puppets, little blinks and mouth movements that practical effects simply cannot convey, at least not yet. The series allowed the world to expand and evolve, allowing the performance of the puppeteers and the voice actors to shine. There's something to be said about the clumsiness and imperfect way humans move, especially when controlling a puppet. CGI and motion capture technology has its place, but Age of Resistance returns to an era of handmade tactile storytelling, while still managing to present an epic world with an engaging story and interesting characters. But as engaging the story is, it still felt pretty generic, and the world is a little too lore heavy for me to process, at least not after one sitting. And perhaps the story was made for hardcore fans of the movie. Regardless, I still highly recommend people watch this visual masterpiece. It's very refreshing to see so much practical effects in an epic fantasy series in an era where practical effects are no longer being embraced. Though some of the puppet movements are distracting and unnatural at times, causing immersion to be shattered, I love how inventive the series was with its creature designs and architecture. There are some unanswered questions still hanging in the air, so I do hope there is another season of this show. I look forward to seeing more, and I hope you guys check it out too. Let me know what you guys thought of this series below. I'm Mad Munchkin. Stay creative.